Hey everyone, welcome back to Rooster's weekly video update. As of yesterday, England has come out of national lockdown and has returned to a regional tiered lockdown approach based on the latest data. And that tiered lockdown approach means that international travel is permitted on a country by country basis, depending on whether or not there's an open travel corridor. As of yesterday as well, mandatory quarantine upon returning to the UK has been reduced to 5 days, assuming that you receive a negative test result on day 5. And the UK has become the first country in the world to approve the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus vaccine, paving the way for mass vaccination. The medicines regulator MHRA says the jab, which offers up to 95% protection against COVID-19, is safe to be rolled out, and the first 800,000 doses will be available in the UK from next week. Easyjet is to limit passengers' free hand luggage from early next year. From the 10th of February, passengers not opting to pay extra will only be allowed to bring one small bag on board that can fit underneath the seat in front. More travel agencies have reported a jump in bookings since the news of a potential vaccine began to emerge. Mid-Counties Cooperative's travel division saw a 31% uplift in sales in the 7 days from the Pfizer announcement, and this is even despite travel agency doors actually being physically closed due to lockdown. 2/3 of Britons would be prepared to take an approved COVID vaccine if it meant that they could travel internationally. The poll for insurance firm Battleface also found that only 29% were likely to travel in early 2021. However, this figure increased to 44% from July next year onwards. Speaking of Easyjet, city crisis experts have been called in to help them attempt to refinance more than £1.4 billion of debt owed to taxpayers and to lenders. The budget airline has called in the help to assist with cash flow forecasting amid crisis talks with Whitehall officials and banks. And European leaders are struggling to reach a coordinated agreement on whether to keep their ski resorts shut or to reopen for business over the winter season. The French, Italian, and German governments want to keep their ski resorts closed over the festive period. The aim to reopen on January 10 at the earliest. However, Austria and Switzerland, which is not part of the European Union, want to keep their resorts open. Travel trade remain optimistic for January despite an ultra-late market prediction. So they're optimistic about January sales. Despite predictions, businesses could be less than half the usual levels, and that this summer looks like it will be an ultra-late bookings market. Over in social, it's not a huge week, but Facebook's Content Oversight Board has taken on its first cases. As a reminder, the Oversight Board is an independent body that makes rulings on cases that have been escalated above Facebook. The board's decisions will then be applied to sort of broader content policies as and where appropriate, and the posts in question will be updated to include rulings and further information, again, as appropriate. And as cryptocurrency surges back into the mainstream off the back of Bitcoin rallying, Facebook's cryptocurrency project Libra is again suffering an identity crisis and undergoing a rebrand in one of its layers. It's another rebrand for another part of the project, aiming to help it distance away from kind of the size of Facebook's ultimate corporate backing, which is part of the reason crypto exists in the first place. It still promises to launch though, but not a ton of information there. And Facebook's also launching a dedicated news tab in the UK in January. The tab is mildly controversial, depending on how you fall on the trust spectrum of Facebook's fact-checking partners, but as a PR agency, we are pretty interested in how that will roll out. So we'll be keeping a really close eye. And TikTok is rolling out longer uploads of up to 3 minutes, as we mentioned last week. Social continues to homogenize, again, a good thing, to take advantage of the reasons people use certain platforms over others. Educational TikTok in particular will really benefit from this, as it looks like TikTok and YouTube start sort of battling it out and realizing that they're competitors with each other more than with anyone else. Speaking of that YouTube comparison, YouTube is not doing Rewind for 2020, so TikTok has taken up the opportunity to roll out the TikTok 100, so the kind of 100 most interesting TikToks from 2020. That said, YouTube has published the top videos and creators of 2020. It's a bit of an eclectic, very American list. The breakout creators mix is the most interesting list to have a look at, so do scroll down and see that under the fold in the article. And Reddit's also weighed in with its daily active users metric for the first time, claiming 52 million DAUs. They're still quite small compared to the other social networks. They're a quarter of Twitter's size for reference. But Reddit is much more directionally niche and a lot closer to like old school bulletin boards. So it is a part of the internet that remains oddly traditional, even if you have sort of mixed feelings about it. That's all from us this week. Don't forget to stay tuned for next week and feel free to read the rest of the article at the link. Cheers.